I mean, I'm well insulated, so I don't get cold like that.
We're not cold,
I'm
Coach.
also not going to say that either. Coach, when you look at what this Giants team can do, what kind of a benchmark is it for your defense, knowing that you have to stop the run this year?
Obviously, you love the challenge because that's what it's going to be all about. Obviously, they got a special running back, and the quarterback is equally a very big threat in the running game. So you understand the challenge. You know the responsibilities are going to have to take place. The big thing with them is you just got to be consistent. Play after play, down after down, quarter after quarter. That's really what they make you have to do. So we look forward to it. As coaches and players, we look forward to the opportunity.
That's because they keep at it, right?
Yeah. Yes. It feels like there's a little bit of a change around the league, where teams really making a big emphasis of focus to run the football, and it's not just our experience with some of the rough games we've had in the early part of the year, but the commitment to it that teams are starting to show. And it generally isn't always like that. And they have that. I think that's a big part of their resurgence. Obviously they're doing a great job of coaching, and the players are they're playing really well. But the commitment to the running game, the focus of a lot of guys in this league is they want to rush the passer and can cover and do all those fun things. But football is always going to be about blocking, tackling, running, and doing those things. And running the football is where all that stuff starts, and they're doing a hell of a job with it.
Speaking of that, they had the drive late in the game where they kept going power, running a lot of stuff off the last week against Jacksonville when they needed a drive. To see them have that commitment in that late game spot to that running the ball like that, what does that speak to about that mentality for them?
It speaks to their will. They're committed to it. They're trying to show their toughness and imposing their will on their opponent. I think as a coach, when you watch that, or even as a player, you identify that. And if you have the attitude that we have here, and to make sure, like, listen, if we know what's coming, we got to go and stop that. You've had situations that we have not handled that great, but we've made those corrections. So that's why I say look forward to the challenge.
Everything is cyclical in this league. Why do you think running the ball is sort of coming back into?
Simplifies the game for the quarterback. It's just like, when you sit there and if you're not committed to running the ball, if we're playing a guy that wants to throw the ball 50, 60 times a game, we can make it hard on them just rolling coverages and D linemen, then they know they can pin their ears back and don't have to respect the running game. But if you know right now that you got to anchor in there and you got to defend this so you don't, give up huge chunks of plays and whatnot in that aspect, you make the defense have to play more honestly, and that is you're playing aggressive, but you got to understand what your run fits are, the disciplines that come with it. So if you start everything off with that in the running game, there's so many other things that can open up to you in that aspect.
Your coaching staff here in Seattle kind of laugh and see the run is back in vogue after you guys are the only holdout for a while?
It's funny to see the evolution of the game, not just obviously the things that we believe in schematically and what we want to do, but as you continue to watch film and study your opponent and common opponents, and for people you're going to see during the course of the season, you just start to see how the game is kind of, I don't want to say the evolution part is coming along, it's just people are kind of refining it again. That's how it feels.
Is it inevitable to some extent that when teams get smaller, faster on defense to try to cover up all the spread and stuff, that somebody was going to turn around and say, we're going to run it at you, that was going to come at some point?
Yeah, when you have a hard time, it's tough, to try to stop some of the pass rushes in the league and the exotic pressures and things like that. And the greatest neutralizer is to run the ball at people. You can't get a sack on a run play. You can't get an interception on a run play, And those guys wear out during the course of the game, and then it's like, okay, you want to rush the passer in the fourth quarter. We've already bruised you up for the last, 45 minutes. We'll see how you do now. So I think it's give and take, how that stuff goes.
Ryan Neal was telling us how sick he was during the game. Did you sort of know that during the game and how impressive?
Yeah, we knew that he wasn't feeling well and all that, but it's, you know what? Who cares? Show. Get yourself together. Let's get ready to go play. Do whatever you got to do, and we got a football game to go play. And to his credit, I know that sounds like, coach is being an ass, but Ryan's always been highly competitive and tough and doing all that. That's why we love him here, and we have such great respect for him because he brings it all the time. So he had a heck of a football game.
How much does his versatility help you? I mean, just his ability to kind of move around and do all that stuff he does?
I think it's for all players. For him, obviously, it's a huge benefit to us. Playing safety, playing the dime spot, he can do so many different things for us. But I say that to all players. The more you can do, the more valuable you are. And you make it also hard on the opponent. When you can line up in various different positions and perform that job at a high level, You know, you have an opportunity where you can mess with people's protections, you know, how they identify the mic in the run game, and so many different things when guys are just in different locations. For us, it's simple. To the offense, it's like, hold on, you know, and now we got to reevaluate how we're schematically doing things. So it's a big deal.
You just talked very highly of Joey Blunt the last couple of weeks. Where do you find him some snaps on defense?
You know, trying to do that, we can. We love Joey. He is a dynamo on special teams. You know, he's done a heck of a job with that, and continue to get better in every week. Obviously, because of the depth we have at safety with Diggy and Ryan, and still have Josh, trying to find him those reps. We know he has a bright future, so if we can get those reps for him, we will. Because, you know, it's great when you got competition there too.
The adjustment that you guys made with your defensive line and how you're having that play, how much do you think that's been a factor over the last couple weeks?
I mean, it's a big deal. I think it's a little bit overstated. You know, it's like, you know, there's only so many alignments and things that you can play. But sometimes also with the front guys, in all honesty with them, is you want to give them some other things to kind of encourage them. It's like you get a little bit more done with honey than you do with vinegar. So I'll put you in some situations where you can go and perform and play at a high level, and then that way when I ask you to do the things that may not be so fun, it's like, all right, I got you. You know, there's an equal balance, you know, that goes along with it. So they're having fun. If they're playing good, I'm good to go. That's the name of the game.
When you look at the last 2 weeks, what's the biggest thing you look at disliking from?
To me, the biggest thing is just taking time for guys to understand, you know, everything that's been going on, in terms of just who's fitting where, the trust factor, being on the same page. And it's like, okay, well, you had a whole spring for that. You got a whole training camp for that. It's different than being in the game. It's different than communicating, you know, in our stadium with our fans, to get those things done. So it's been a little bit of a process. But we've taken great strides the last 2 games, not taking anything for granted. We got to continue to take that one step at a time, one game at a time, and don't take for granted that that's automatically going to happen. Just got to keep working.
Did that process take a little longer than you had expected, or it's just this is where we are now, let's go?
Yeah, it definitely took more. I mean, nobody expects to come in, and definitely in my mindset, and I know our staff and our players, to have some of the rough performances that we did. You know, whether we win a game like Detroit, as a pride as a player, as a coach, you don't want to go through that experience where you're giving up 43 or 45 points. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. But at the same time, you understand that sometimes in order to get to where you ultimately want to go, you got to go through some lumps and bruises.
Is that the lesson learned now?
Absolutely.
Messaging.
Absolutely.
How can LJ Collier kind of fit into things now these days?
Just continue to keep battling his way through. He's practicing. He's working hard. But again, you know, with Q Jeff and Shelby and those guys playing and doing some good things, you just got to keep on working. And when the opportunity comes, just take advantage of it when it's there.
The stuff that's not that fun, that you mentioned, are you talking about like eating up blocks as opposed to penetrating them?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes with football. You know, it's like sometimes there's things that you got to kind of take one for the team. And, you know, and there's other situations where you get to go cut it loose. It doesn't just apply to defensive line play. It happens in the secondary, as well. It happens in all levels of the defense where there's going to be certain calls that is going to ask a player to take a little bit more responsibility to help somebody else go be free or be available. That's just the nature of the game. That's how it is. You know, certain positions or certain calls within that position, it might be a thankless job, but it's my job to make sure that we got to find some other ways to get this guy free and available. You know, Jordan Brooks wants to go and get his pressures and all that, and he does a nice job when he does. But there's other situations where, listen, you got to mask some stuff up. You got to cover the middle of the field. You got to match 3 and all those types of things. So it's a trade-off. That's all I'm saying. And it doesn't just apply to the D-line. It applies to everybody.
At the Kobe Bryant, 96 snaps, was that game plan specific, or was he just ready for this because now he's grown so much into this role?
Game plan, we'll have some different things, some wrinkles that we'll have available like week by week, to make the offense the same way. I don't want to go into a game where I feel like the offense has to dictate stuff to us. We want to give them looks and different things that they have to adapt to as well. And Kobe's a guy, you've heard me talk about how smart he is, since the springtime. He can handle things on his plate, whether various packages, different alignments and techniques and things of that nature. So he can handle the load, and he plays it really well.
What do you think of how Bruce Irvin played?
Bruce played really well. It was great having him obviously around and his energy and juice and the passion, but he played really well. You wouldn't be able to tell that he missed the training camp and the first month or so of the season. He played really, really well, and looking forward to getting him more work, in this game.
Has Uchenna given you more as a pass rusher than maybe you even hoped for coming into the year? Because I think his pressure numbers are up there with the best in the league and everything.
I think this, sometimes you guys get overlooked. remember Chenna was in with the Chargers, and they had Joey Bosa, they had Melvin Ingram. They've had good players. So what happens in this, he's a really good player too. But sometimes when there's a lot of depth at a position, a guy kind of goes under the radar a little bit. And that was the thing that was exciting about getting him. Is like, this guy's going to have a chance to now be a full-time starter with us, where now he was on limited reps. And if you know anything about pass rushers, in the heated moments, third down, 2-minute, obvious pass situations, they're not letting the third guy get a whole lot of reps. They want to make sure they take theirs. So now he has the opportunity here. So excited. It's not a surprise. The guy's a stud. Really, we're blessed to have him.
With Urban here, can you afford to take Hermoso off the field?
I mean, yeah, we have good with Bruce and Mafe and Daryl. Eventually getting Alton back. We have depth of the position to be able to keep him fresh. Right now I'd say, he has a lot of snaps. I like to keep his legs fresher for the later part of the game. And we have the quality guys to be able to do that. So that's an area we can be better to help him out, and that helps our football team out too.
Trey Brown is back. What are you looking?
Now, it's first day in practice. Obviously, he's having fun and having a good time while he was out here. It's just good to see him out here on the grass. I want to see him continue to work his way back in. I mean, the guy hasn't played football in almost a year, since his injury. So I think there's no doubt we're excited about his talent and his ability. We know that he's competitive, he's tough, but I want to see him run around a little bit more and, kind of get involved in things and get his feet wet, because he's got rust that he's got to knock off naturally. He's still a young guy that's developing, so today was his first day out there. He moved around with it really well.
Said he talked to him to say, hey, it's one day, don't try to do it all.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, absolutely. He has to build his way back into this, get back comfortable, get his feet back in the ground. And also, this is his first time. Like, he knows the defense because he's been, learning things throughout the course of it. But now physically going there and doing it, just take it one day at a time.
What's gotten in the corner the past 2 weeks?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. Hopefully, keep this thing going. Yeah, it's one of my faves. So he's keep this thing going, keep building one game at a time.
Is the way they use Jones in the run game similar to any of the other quarterbacks you sort of face this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, similar to what we dealt with preparing for Trey Lance before he got hurt, unfortunately, and also with Marcus Mariota. The running quarterback is obviously a big deal, but this kid, when he breaks runs, not a lot of people catch him. So he's whatever his 40 time is. I don't know, somebody made a mistake. They maybe hit the button a little late because he doesn't get caught a whole lot for a 4.7 guy. But he can run.
Why have the quarterback run been an issue for you guys this week?
A lot of it is just, again, it's the run fits. Things are different, in terms of understanding your responsibilities in the fits and the different calls. Guys having to get comfortable with that. So, I feel like we've made some good strides on that. So, but again, we got a big challenge on Sunday, so we'll see the test on that.
Certain quarterbacks just more prone to getting their passes batted down than others?
There's certain guys that may have a longer delivery. You can see when they're taking the top hand off the ball. That's usually a big coaching point with the defensive line. When guys start to wind up, as soon as the top hand comes off, that's when, if you are not winning in the rush, that's when you get your hands up. So now you can still have an effect on the passer. So we've been working on that and emphasizing that too the last few weeks.
That group that's got the 5 down and 5 DBs, does that have a name too, like Cheetah?
The 5 down lineman in the penny package. It would be penny, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, take care.